internet! How are you? I am doing excellent. Thank you for asking. I was tagged by Gray Lioness Reads to do the Guilty Pleasures book tag. So I looked it up and the original tag was created by a gal named Savvy, and her channel is Savvy Writes Books, and she actually looks really freaking awesome. I am going to go binge watch all of her videos as soon as I finish filming this video, so I'll leave the link to her original video channel down below. And of course I'll leave Gray Lioness down below too. Thank you so much for tagging me, Gray Lioness. I love when you tag me in things. It's so much fun. Okay, so the Guilty Pleasures book tag takes the word guilty and breaks it down into letters, and then you have to pick a book for each letter, and there's like definitions for each letter and things like that. So the very first letter in guilty is G. The word for G is goofy. Pick a book that made you laugh or a really goofy, silly book. Could I pick anything else than Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? This book is sarcastic, it's funny, it's basically a social commentary about the world and the universe and everything, and it's a whole series, you guys. So Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is the first one, then The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, then Mostly Harmless, then Life, the Universe, and Everything. And then So Long and Thanks for All the Fish is the very last one. So this series is one of my favorite series. Is when I need a good laugh, when I just need to laugh at the world, laugh at the universe, laugh at myself. The next letter in the word guilty is U. U. Yes, you. And for you, the word is underrated. So pick an underrated book. For that one, I am going to go with the entirety of the Codex Alera. I love the Codex Alera book series. I think it is actually my favorite high fantasy book series of all time. It's by Jim Butcher. So one of my favorite stories is how the Codex Alera came into being and how Jim Butcher got that idea. So one day somebody from Del Rey's online writers workshop made a bet with Jim Butcher that he could not write a story based on a really stupid idea. Jim Butcher was like, dude, I can write anything. What do you want me to write? So the idea was combine the Lost Roman Legion and Pokemon and see if you can come up with a good story. Hence, the Codex Alera was born. Most of the characters in the world of Alera are bonded with an elemental called a Fury. So there's all different kinds of elementals. There's like wind elementals and I think fire elementals. And however, our main character Tavi is like the only kid that has not been bonded to an elemental, cannot summon an elemental, cannot find an elemental, cannot talk to elementals. In order to survive in the world, he has to find all kinds of really fun ways to pretend that he is bonded to an elemental. So to pretend he's bonded to a fire elemental, he carries this little prism around in his pocket. And whenever they're like, oh, start a fire, or something like that, normally somebody would be able to do that with their elemental. He takes this prism out and shines it at the sun to light a fire. He just has to come up with all these crazy, fun, interesting ideas to make it seem like he is bonded to an elemental. Anyway, and this story just follows Tavi and his life, and it's a coming of age story, and he ends up joining the military and doing lots of really crazy awesome stuff, and then leading his own legion at some point. And so yeah, there you go. You've got the Pokemon side with all the elementals and the bonding and the summonings and all that, and then you've got the Lost Roman Legion with Tavi and his leading his own super elite special legion and things like that. The next letter in the word guilty is I. Inconceivable is the word. Inconceivable. Pick a book that you love even though the premise of it is absolutely ridiculous. Okay, you guys. For this one, I'm gonna go with Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews, right? Oh my goodness, you guys, I don't know why I love this book so much, and it's so problematic. There's so many things in this book that I should not love, but it's so random and it's so wonderful, and I just connect with it so deeply. I don't understand. It's absolutely ridiculous. The main character, his name is Greg, and he only has one friend. His friend is named Earl. And then all of a sudden his mom is like, you need to be friends with this girl who has cancer because she's dying and you need to be her friend because she needs friends. And so Greg and Earl befriend this dying girl. And craziness ensues. And it's wonderful. And it's so random, and like, I love how this book deals with hard-hitting topics in a really ridiculous kind of way, and I know a lot of people probably don't like that about this book. I think the things that a lot of people don't like about this book is exactly what I love about this book, because the girl is very actively dying throughout the entire book. Like, she's dying, okay? And it's presented as funny. And I know it's horrible, and the premise is horrible. It's horrible. It's inconceivable. Completely inconceivable. The one thing I love about this book, which I think a lot of people really didn't like about this book also, is that it will just like randomly, so it'll be like in like regular word format. It'll be like just in like regular word format, and then it'll like flip into like a script format. But then like all different, it has like all different types of script format, and then it'll like go back to regular format, and then it'll flip into like a script format that looks like this, and it's just all over the place, and then it's just like told in like complete bullet points at parts. Like these are just like bullet point notes of the story. Like, it's just so ridiculous. This book is absolutely ridiculous. And then it like goes back to script format. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I loved it so much. I love the uniqueness. I love the variety. I love the writing style. I loved the way it made light of really dark topics. I feel like a horrible person saying that I love this book. And I loved why it did what it did, and I loved what it did, and I'm sorry. But this is the Guilty Pleasures book tag, so if I feel a little bit guilty, that's probably, the tag is working. Okay, next question. So, the very next letter in the word guilty is L, and L stands for love. So pick a book with a simple love story in it. Okay, you guys, for that one, I'm going to Fangirl. So, simple love story. Basically, main character's name is Kath, and she writes fan fiction. She loves to write. So, she writes this fan fiction for this universe called Simon Snow, and in it, she ships the characters Simon and Baz together. And Simon and Baz have the cutest little romance. And you also have Kath and Levi, which is the main character that is her love interest in this story. And so Kath and Levi, Simon and Baz. Anyway, basically this is Fangirl is by Rainbow Rowell. If you have not picked up Fangirl yet and you love to write or you love to read, or you just love being nerdy in general, please pick up Fangirl. Oh my gosh, I feel like most everybody's read Fangirl at this point, but like if you haven't, please just do it. So this follows Kath. She's very socially awkward, very shy, and it's her very first semester of college. And she loves to write, and she kind of copes with life by writing fan fiction. And just her adventures through her first year of college. And her trying to cope with her world, and trying to cope with her social anxiety, and her trying to cope with her father who has mental illness as well, and also love interests, and writing, and feeling like she doesn't really fit in any of her writing classes, and all the stuff that, you know, you work through in your first year of college. So it's beautiful. It's by Rainbow Rowell. Mwah. The next letter in the word guilty is T. And for T, the definition is TV. Talk about a TV series that you love, but everybody else says it's trashy. The main one for this, I don't know about trashy, but like a lot of my friends kind of think it's ridiculous at this point. And I definitely have certain friends that don't have very good opinions of this show. Unfortunately, I don't understand why, except that it's just kind of old, and like the first couple seasons were really cheesy, and then after that I think it got a lot better, and I still love watching reruns of this show. That's gonna be Stargate SG-1, one of my all-time favorite science fiction TV shows. Oh my god, I love Stargate. Even the other day, me and a couple of friends were like hanging out, and we put on Stargate while we were hanging out. But my friend group is kind of divided on like who likes Stargate and who doesn't. A good half of my friends think it's pretty stupid, and then like the other half of my friends are just as in love with it as I am. So yeah. The very last letter in the word guilty is Y. Stands for young. So pick a book that was intended for a younger audience, but you read it anyway and you loved it even though it was made for little kids. Okay, so you guys, I will never ever ever get tired of the Jedi Apprentice books. Yes, they're chapter books. Yes, they're for 5-year-olds, maybe 7 to 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds, I don't know. But I read this series when I was a kid, and I am just absolutely freaking in love with this series. I remember at my school when I was in like 4th and 5th grade, every time there was a Scholastic book fair in the library, I would bring all my allowance and I would just stock up on new Jedi Apprentice books. I read them over and over and over and over when I was a kid, and even now that I'm grown up, I can still pick up one of these, read them, and just feel the nostalgia. Basically, they follow Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon back when Obi-Wan was a little kid and Qui-Gon first took him on as a Padawan, and it just follows all of their adventures together. And what I think I really loved and really connected to in this book series was it talked a lot about like their struggles together and them struggling to understand each other as well. Anyway, I think that's why I connected to them so much. And also, I loved the concept of the Jedi when I was a kid. I still kind of do. And I love lightsabers and I love fights, and I don't know, I really, really, really connected with this book series, and I still do. It's still one of my top favorites, most nostalgic book series that I still own, and I still present them very proudly right here on my shelf. For the very last question, it says tag people. Okay, so I don't know who's done this tag and who hasn't done this tag yet. Yeah, so I'm not sure. So I'm just gonna tag a bunch of people. If you have already done the tag, I'm sorry. But here we go. A beautiful chaos of books. You're tagged. Booktube Goddess, you're tagged. Mimo, you're tagged. Alex Black Reads, you are also tagged. Lost in a Bookcase, if you would like to be tagged, you are also tagged. And I'm gonna go ahead and tag Connor as well. So yeah, if I didn't tag you and you want to do this tag, also consider yourself tagged. I love all of you guys. You're so freaking beautiful. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.